Sorry.
All right, gentlemen, we're all here. Adequate notice of this November the 8th, 2012 meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting written notice and agenda of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building at 1000 Route 10, Whippany, Township of Hanover, and by hand delivering, mailing, and/or faxing such notice and agenda to the following newspapers: the Hanover Eagle, Morris County's Daily Record, the Star Ledger, and by filing same with the Township Clerk. Have a roll call.
On roll call, Committeeman Schleifer.
Here.
Committeeman Ferramasca.
Here.
Committeeman Bruno.
Here.
Committeeman Capola.
Here.
And Committeeman and Mayor Francioli.
Here.
5 members in attendance, sir.
Thank you, Chuck. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join me in a pledge allegiance to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay. Joe, how do you want to do a proclamation, or do you want to do our...
There's no one here from the Pancreatic Cancer Society, so maybe just have a motion on the proclamation and we'll mail it to them.
We have a proclamation declaring November as Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month, moved by Committeeman Schleifer. Was it seconded?
Ferramasca, and I
Seconded by
second.
Deputy Mayor Ferramasca.
On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So approved.
Okay.
We will mail that to the Pancreatic
people.
Cancer Society.
All right, you want to take David? How do you want to do this?
Open to the public.
Okay.
Mr. Vaza, if you want to step to the microphone and
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you,
let's
Dave.
get a motion for the public. We're
So
going to
moved.
open to the public.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, podium is open. Anyone like to address the Township Committee at this time, please do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record. Dave, how are you?
Dave Vaza, Program Manager of the North Jersey Municipal Employee Benefits Fund in Park Ridge, New Jersey. And Mayor and Council, I'm here to present you with your dividend check this year.
Yeah.
Something hopefully I'm sure you'll have use for after all the storms and everything. It's in the amount of $98,262, and it represents, as you probably know, a return of unused funds. Since you're in a joint insurance fund, it's a public entity, so you to purchase your health benefits, and when claims come in less than expected, the money gets returned to the town. So you eliminate all insurance company profit, overhead, and premium taxes, and anything left over is returned to your town. And the Township of Hanover has also always been a very major player in joint insurance funds, with Mr. Giorgio serving as chairman of the Morris JIF, and Mr. Zambito, chairman of the North Jersey JIF, and then Silvio's working his way up the ranks in the North Jersey HIF as well. So we certainly thank you for your participation, and it's my pleasure to be able to present you with this check.
And Dave, we also should mention your dear father, rest his soul, was a prime mover to start all the GIFs, along with John Dorsey.
Yes.
It,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dave, thank you very much.
Okay.
Good job. Good job.
Down the line.
We could use it.
That's how quickly it is.
Silvio, cashed already?
Bob, give it to Sylvia.
Thank you, Dave.
David, thank you. Of things that Hanover has done and pioneered over the years, you know, I had the pleasure of being on this township committee when the concept of the joint insurance fund was a few of us little towns came together, and now how many towns involved in this in the total now?
With total joint insurance funds, there's over 150 on health insurance funds, and more than half the states in property and casualty.
Just incredible how it's swelled and blossomed out.
You know, there's well over 600-700.
And utilities also,
Yeah.
like the Hanover Storage Authority is a part of it too.
Yeah.
Well,
Again.
I mean, it's the greatest example of shared services way before it was a buzzword. I mean, it's been over 25 years when it was pioneered.
It really is. It really was. You know, that was the beginning of the shared service.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
Dave.
you very much. That's fantastic.
Good way to start a meeting.
Yeah. Gina, does that fall in excess of our 2% cap? Or is that,
It goes right to surplus.
Because I feel all this
A
this
lot of
gray
things
matter
we need,
churning
so
around
can
me
we
here,
spend that?
looking for use, and I'm sure we'll find one good use for it, that's for sure. Okay. Mr. Administrator, anyone else in the public like to be heard at this time? Hearing none, seeing none, motion to close.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Administrator.
We have department reports. They include the following. We have the report of our property maintenance officer for all activities conducted by property maintenance through October 25th. We have the report from the municipal court on the disposition of all traffic summonses. The Township CMFO, also serving as the treasurer, has submitted his report as of October 16th. Our construction official has submitted his construction permit and certificate of occupancy reports through September 30th. And our superintendent of Public Works, Buildings and Grounds, and Park Maintenance has submitted 2 reports on all activities conducted by the divisions of sanitation, roads, and parks. That concludes the reports on file, which are all available for public inspection. Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue with the agenda, the next item are ordinances for consideration for final passage. We have public hearing first on ordinance number 21-12, authorizing the purchase and installation of 1 or more replacement boilers for the Police Department Headquarters Wing of the Municipal Building, and authorizing the appropriation of $75,000 from the 2012 Capital Improvement Fund and all prior years for the financing of the improvement project. We will state for the record, we have the proof of publication that the ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the Daily Record in the October 18th issue of the newspaper. At this time, may we have a motion to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
And Mr. Capola. And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 21-12? Seeing none, hearing none, may we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Capola.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Now on adoption. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, authorizing the purchase and installation of 1 or more replacement boilers for the Police Department Headquarters Wing of the Municipal Building, and further authorizing the appropriation of $75,000 from the Township's 2012 Capital Improvement Fund and all prior years for the financing of the improvement project, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the November 15th issue of the Daily Record. May we now have a motion for adoption? So moved by Mr. Capola.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bruno. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Ordinance number 21-12 is adopted.
We'll get you some heat, Chief.
Okay, Ron.
Good. Done.
Thank you. Next item, ladies and gentlemen, ordinance number 22-12. This is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 250 of the Code of the Township entitled Taxis and Limousines in order to bring the regulations that we have now in the code up to date with state statute. We have the proof of publication that the ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the November 1st issue of the Daily Record. May we now have a motion to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Capola, seconded by Mr. Faramaska. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 22-12? Seeing none, hearing none, may we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Bruno, seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Now, on adoption, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, amending and supplementing Chapter 250 of the Code of the Township, entitled Taxis and Limousines, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the November 15th issue of the Daily Record. Now, may we have a motion
So
on
moved.
adoption?
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Ferramaska, seconded by Mr. Schleifer. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So adopted, ladies and gentlemen. And as we move along, ladies and gentlemen, we have one ordinance slated for introduction. It is docketed as ordinance number 24-12. And this ordinance provides for amendments to the township's land use and development legislation by adopting definitions and development standards for solar energy facilities and amending and supplementing certain provisions for the screening of rooftop equipment. The ordinance will be further considered for public hearing and final adoption at the Township Committee meeting on December 13th, 2012, at 8:30 p.m. here in these chambers. And at that time, any citizen wishing to be heard will be given the opportunity to comment. It is further resolved that the ordinance and the notice of introduction will be published in full in the Morris County Daily Record in accordance with law. May we now have a motion on introduction of ordinance number 24-12?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Ferramaska,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Bruno and Mr. Capola. On introduction, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So introduced unanimously. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this portion of business on ordinances. Thank you, Mayor. As we continue, we have resolutions as a consent agenda. There are no additional resolutions to be added. Are there any questions concerning resolutions 1 through 4?
None.
Hearing none, seeing none, may we have a motion on the approval of the resolutions by consent agenda?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Francioli and Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So approved. On page 2, ladies and gentlemen, we have also as consent agenda, raffle applications 2607, 2608, and 2609 for Morris Catholic High School. May we have a motion on the approval of the raffle applications?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Schleifer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bruno. And roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So approved, ladies and gentlemen. We now have the payment of our bills, and that is important. And the total amount to disperse, $5,957,493.88.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Schleifer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Francioli. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So approved, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mayor, members of the Township Committee, that concludes the agenda of the Township Administrator Clerk, and I thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Very well done.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, at this time, any other business from the Township Committee?
Yes,
George?
yes. I definitely, I would like to read into the record a letter, or an email rather, that I sent to the Township Committee members the day after the storm, Hurricane Sandy, I spent that whole Monday into the evening at the command center, and I just would like to read into it because I think the folks that were involved did such a phenomenal job that I think it's important. And noting that this email, what I'm about to read in, this was prepared on a Tuesday, the day after, which you'll understand as I read through this. Gentlemen, and I sent this to our township committee and also to our administrators. Gentlemen, I would be truly remiss if I were not to acknowledge the great job that our employees of the Public Safety Department, Fire Department, OEM Department, and Public Works Department are doing for the residents of Hanover Township. I say are doing because right now it is the morning of Tuesday, 10/31, and I just completed a survey of the township with Chief Gallagher, who has been at the command center all night. The chief informed me that all of the OEM personnel have been at the command center throughout the wee hours of the morning. And when I say throughout, I mean our director of OEM probably has not left there since that day. He's been truly doing a phenomenal job. As a matter of fact, when I returned this morning, I saw the same superior officers, and one was Captain Walden, and patrolmen and sergeants who were there when I left at 11 p.m. Last night. Brian Ferran informed me that his staff was working last night and returned early this morning to begin opening roadways, which I saw as I was coming in the morning. We and the residents of Hanover Township should be pleased to see how well all of our departments work together when it comes to a major emergency. I know I am. Last night when Chief Gallagher and I were surveying the damage, I saw firsthand our employees really giving it their all, especially our police officers and public works employees, because they were the first and second responders on every scene, and there were many reported incidents. Some were extremely dangerous due to the trees and high tension wires being down. They provided all of the safety barriers so no one could be injured. I want to tell you that when we stopped at Eden Lane, there were barriers up with sandbags on them that were literally blowing across the street. That's across the roadway. That's how bad. I think the chief kept running back and forth trying to put the barriers up. As for the damage, it is hard to comprehend literally the number of trees and electrical poles down all over town. Many blocking many thoroughfares, just to name a few, which I don't really want to get into that. It's not necessary right now. I would have to say that most of these trees fell on our residents' properties. However, we also had a great number of trees that fell across our roadways, which continued to make traversing the township difficult. I even saw 2 huge trees across the top of 2 vehicles at one of our residents' homes. You know, we had many roadways blocked, but because I was with the chief, I was able to see it firsthand as he drove up to it. It's just something I never saw in my life, and I cannot even begin to comprehend. I try to explain to everyone how severe the damage was. Obviously, I was hoping that we will have our power restored as soon as possible. Unfortunately, the power companies are going to have their hands full just to disconnect, remove, and replace all the down poles. I would like to acknowledge the following department heads and their staff. Police Chief Gallagher and his entire department. They had folks coming in all hours, whether they were on or not. OEM Director Tom Quirk and his support group. Well, I don't know much more I can say about Tom. Tommy has been there constantly, 24/7. I mean, he has provided enough communications that all of us were well made aware of what was going on. We also had the Whippany Fire Chief Joe Courtwright and his department, Cedar Knolls Fire Chief Tim Davison and his department, and Deputy Chief for EMS Bob O'Hare. I seen these folks out during the course of the night too. I also saw our patrolmen and public works people with plows on vehicles moving trees just to get them out of the roadway so that they weren't into dangerous situations. And obviously our Superintendent of Public Works, Brian Ferran, and his department. These guys, I seen them all working together, all in the command center, all moving as one to make things safe for our residents. Yet in all this devastation, I say this, there was a bright side, and that the fact that we did not have flooding. That was the one thing we were truly scared of again, that we might have it. Fortunately, I mean, you know, we did have it. There was devastation. I'm not going to take for that, but it could have even been compounded further if there had been a problem with flooding. Right now, at the time, I was looking at Chief Gallagher's window. Traffic seemed to be moving. This was on Tuesday morning, and all we could do is ask for understanding and patience for the cleanups to be completed. I just want you all to have first-hand knowledge in the event you were approached by our residents. As an added note, I know I speak for the Township Committee and all our residents when we say thank you to all of those departments that were doing everything they could possibly do to ensure our safety and well-being. You know, there's just not enough words that I can express. I know for myself, and I'm sure for the Township Committee, that the work that our departments did, our administrator and every one of his staff members, it was just phenomenal, because the disaster and the devastation around the town was truly, you know, something you can't comprehend unless you actually see it for yourself. So, to all of you, thank you all very much. And, you know, I just don't have any words to say except, you know, it was terrific. And I think you all deserve really, I wish this room were full of people just to, you know, to understand and to give you an ovation for the great job you all do and you're continuing to do. So thank you.
Thank you, George.
I can just add some of the sentiment. Thanks, George, and I think enough's been said. All our department heads that were out there, we really appreciate the work, and Tommy Quirk, our OEM director, and our police chief are here, and to the one department heads that are not here, we thank all of you for a great job. Specifically about DPW, I can speak. I know Brian and his crews did a phenomenal job, and there was a lot of preparation put into this because of our planning with our OEM director, who's here, getting the barricades out on time, doing all the pre-planning, and it paid off. And I think we ended up faring pretty well as residents of the Township of Hanover. We had our issues, but I know that the pre-planning had a major part in making sure that we're going to keep our residents safe. So we thank everyone for that. The crews are pretty exhausted. I can tell you that. I know the police are. I know DPW is. I talked to Brian about it. They worked, you know, around the clock, and they had a lot of work to do. And then we just had this past snowstorm, so they're running on empty.
Amazing. It was a double whammy.
Yeah, we appreciate all their efforts. And one thing I guess during these emergencies that never gets recognized maybe is our chief our financial officer, Silvio, and his department. What most people don't realize is we were still pretty much shut down on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
And just some department heads were coming in. I know Joe was in and working hard at that, but one of our concerns was our employees got paid. So it took the efforts of the entire department, I understand, right? Silvio, it was Samantha Stieg and Pat Shea, both
volunteered to come in.
Volunteered to come in and process the payroll so we can get it done on time. And Sylvia was communicating with our payroll company, an outside source. Once we got the information to them, they couldn't guarantee that they could get the direct deposits done. So our DPW superintendent, Brian, drove Silvio down to Fairfield to pick the checks up, that we had printed checks for this cycle, so all of our employees can get paid. And that's just, I know everyone appreciates that. I mean, everyone's having a hard time trying to find gasoline and those kind of things, and nobody's taking credit cards anymore for gasoline during that period, so they needed to be paid, you know, and we appreciate. And please send our sentiments back to your employees who came in while the rest of the township couldn't make it in. They volunteered to come in during that time to make sure all our township employees got paid. So we thank them. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, clearly, job well done by our first responders. They rose to the occasion. They did it. They battled that fierce storm that we faced. I also think there's a lot of unsung heroes in this community in terms of residents of our community who banded together, who came out along with service organizations. And I'm not going to get into naming service organizations, but many service organizations throughout Hanover Township collectively came out and participated. Participated how? Number one, they came to our warming center, which we had running as many hours as we could throughout that process. They were there. They provide support, comfort to the individuals who were there. They also, on Saturday and Sunday, they raised an enormous amount of clothing and food to provide to victims of this hurricane. And more importantly, they donated their time to feed people. And they fed more and more people. Two people that should be recognized stood out throughout that whole thing. Number one is Magella Labello from our community, who spearheaded that service in terms of trying to get individuals out and work with all the organizations to get the clothing, to get the food stuff, and Peter Berkenkamp, who lived here that entire weekend. So I thank all of them on behalf of this entire committee.
I think we shouldn't forget Laura Braun. She is also.
Yes.
There are
Yeah.
so many people that came
I know,
together during
you
this
could
storm.
Go on and on. Yeah.
You know, really,
You're right.
Bob?
Yeah, I want to echo the sentiments of all my colleagues without being totally redundant, and just thank the DPW, the police, the fire, and especially Tom Quirk for all those special efforts. And I know that, you know, many people are paid to do these jobs, but I think people in this town have a sense of community and do tend to go above and beyond the call of duty. I know Brian Ferran was probably working, you know, close to 48 hours straight as our head of DPW. You know, with the assistance of the police, the fire, Tom kind of coordinating things. So really yeoman's work. And we may have been hit as hard as any other town in the area, but I think we responded much more quickly, and perhaps much more with a sense of pride and community. And again, to echo John's sentiments about the hot meal being served, the volunteers that came out, the clothing that's donated, as well as food and non-perishable items. The collection notice was only put out on the internet, I think, on Thursday afternoon. We got it up and running, and by Saturday there were piles and piles of clothes and food. You know, people really came out of the woodwork and did a tremendous job. So my thanks to all who were involved.
Thank you, Bob, really. Well, I think you've heard it all. I think we're all so very, very proud of Hanover. There's no question about that. This is, in the truest sense of the word community, that's exactly what took place during this storm. We suffered through the most devastating storm that this country has ever seen in quite some time. We're not away from it yet. We're not out of it yet. We're in the recovery period, so there's going to be a great many days, weeks ahead of us before we get back to any level of normalcy. And I don't know that we'll ever get back to any level of normalcy. But what I will say about Hanover, thanks to the people that have been mentioned today, and Tommy, you're here. Tommy Quirk did it absolutely. He did a yeoman job as OEM. I mean, you know, I don't know that you knew what you bought into when you took the assignment, but let me tell you, Tommy.
No problem, Tom.
Tommy.
By the way, it never happened on my watch.
Tommy got to the point where he didn't want to hear from Mayor's cell phone anymore. You know, and very, very long nights. You know, working with JCP&L as our department was, and Sean Waldron, who developed relationships with JCP&L to get some things done here. With so many trees down, so many lines down, we couldn't clear trees unless lines were rendered either cut off or removed, etc. So we had to work hand in glove to see that happen. We still have some pockets in the community that still require power, although I did get an update from Tom tonight that our sewer plant is now back online. Most of the Troy Road area is back online. Manchester is back online. I spoke to a couple of residents down there, and we're getting power back to 100% as quickly as we can. And I will say, we're getting power back far, far better than most of our sister communities in the area, and we do thank JCP&L. I know they're getting a lot of issues from other towns. They've got some 6,000 linemen out there working. There's a lot more work to do. We still have some streets that are closed. We're hoping in the not too distant future to have those open. Cedar Knolls Road, Hanover Avenue, to say for a few. But again, all the peoples that have been involved in this, you heard their names, but Pete Birkenkamp, OEM, Sean Waldron, our captain of our police, did a fantastic job of staying with us on that. Chief Courtwright, Chief Davidson, our administrator, Joe Giorgio.
Ron, if I might interject, I think the Township Committee should also take this opportunity to thank my staff, in particular Annette Luger, Rita Ruick, Robin Dente, and myself, who handled literally 4 or 5 dozen phone calls since last Tuesday of citizens frustrated with the lack of power. And because of the cooperation of JCP&L, I think we were able to calm and allay a lot of the fears and concerns by these residents. And with the help of Mr. Obremski from JCP&L, he was able to come through. But I want to personally thank Rita, Annette, and Robin in particular for helping me with the literally dozens of complaints that we received about the power. So, thank you.
Something to be said, and I echo that too. Annette, the whole staff, the administrative staff, been absolutely phenomenal through this. We had, like most communities, we get our share of issues and complaints. None of us like to be inconvenienced. None of us like to be without the comforts of our home and power. But I say to those very same people, pause, stop, think a bit. Those who have lost their homes, those who have lost their loved ones, those that have lost all of their personal property, I can't comprehend the hurt of that in the state of New Jersey here, particularly Ocean and Monmouth counties that have been hurt so bad by this. Let me impart some additional information. I'm never going to beat John Faramasca's record for this meeting, but we're going to impart some information that I think would be helpful. Those who still require assistance, there's a FEMA number, Tommy, that I'm going to use here, that they're using, 1-800-621-3362, 1-800-621-3362. If you wish to make a claim through FEMA, this is the telephone number you can use. You can also, if you do have power, and Hanover, most of you now do have power, disasterassistance.gov. Disasterassistance.gov is the other way to do it. You can do it online. I am told that FEMA at this particular point has probably assisted with something in the neighborhood of $71 or $72 million. There is a limit, which you'll learn about if you go into this, of some $31,900 per family. The center that George talked about, that everyone has been talking about here at our recreation center, was a warming center for you to power up your tools during the storm. Still is, by the way. We've been collecting food and clothing. The center right now has ample clothing. Their concerns now are for food, non-perishable foods, baby formulas, dry formulas, etc., diapers of that nature. Hanover, if you can help with this, if you can bring those articles to the center, we'll see they get distributed. The county's still maintaining the Menon Arena as a warming center and a shelter. I advise everyone who does need shelter, and I'm happy to say they're probably down to just a very few in this community that may be in that situation now, that Menon Arena is available. There's ample shelter there. I was up there a few nights ago to check that network. Are they shutting it down, Tommy?
12 noon tomorrow.
Yeah? Oh, go through the police department for that?
No, it's shutting down at 12 noon tomorrow.
Oh, it will close. Oh, by 12 tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I almost meet that happily too. If the county feels that that center is not needed. It's been a horrible storm in the state of New Jersey. We still have some 395,000 without power. We had 91 deaths in the tri-state area, and we're to be attributable to this storm. Still a lot to go. We want to thank our new neighbor, Bayer Healthcare. I know this is going to get lengthy, but the minute the Bayer Healthcare people knew that Hanover Township was struck, our phones rang. They wanted to know what they could do to help. offer of generators, offer of their own personnel and assistance. We thank them very much. They were a great help to us through this entire period of time, and still are. On top of it all, we ran an election, and one of our committeemen even got reelected. So congratulations to Deputy Mayor Faramasca, who handily won a strong election, and I guess, John, we're going to see you for the next 3 years, huh?
3 more years.
There you go, 3 more years. Thank you. That's all I have. Joe, I think we've covered George.
I just would like to acknowledge the Knights of Columbus and the Rotary, who did a lot to purchase and prepare the food that was provided at the community center. I don't think I missed anyone, right? It was the Rotary and the...
Yeah, I think so, and that was something that came strictly from the Knights. They decided to bring food to the warming center, and they did on a Saturday. They cooked and provided warm meals for anyone who needed it, and weren't too happy with their turnout on Saturday, so they decided to do it again on Sunday. Yeah. So, and it worked out.
Worked very well.
It worked out very, very well. Thank the Knights, thank the Rotary for everyone involved on that.
And there was a thought 3 hours later, Pat. Someone thought about it 3 hours later before.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
3 hours.
And I believe also the fire departments, we have to give them credit, they delivered some meals to some
Oh, yeah.
people
Yeah,
that couldn't
both
get
our-
out of their houses or needed it.
Both our Whippany and Cedar Knolls fire companies, and again, we can go on, and certainly I want to mention one other thing, and I want to mention a private organization here in Township that helped us out, and almost to the point where it was got difficult on them with some of our people, and I have to mention Care One. When the storm hit, and we knew we had shut-ins, and we knew people that were in need of medication, people on oxygen, we're very concerned about their power losses. My phone rang. Director of OEM said to me, we've got to reach out to Care One, see whether or not they can assist. We did. They were waiting for that phone call. They openly said that they had beds available for us and provided those through OEM. Very important to note during that storm, though, that these were for people who were shut-ins with medical needs. We did have a few people show up there, and were very put out by the fact that Care One wasn't ready to give them regular beds and shelter. That was not a shelter as we saw Men in Arena, etc. But we thank them very much. That's the kind of community we've got here in Hanover. It just worked out beautifully. Any other business from the committee? None? Okay, a motion once again to open the floor. If anyone has... Seconded. The floor is open. Anyone would like to address the Township Committee can do so from the podium. Once again, name and address for the record. Seeing none. Hearing none. Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
Motion for adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn. Thank you all. Thanks, gentlemen.
Well, what happened to the record attempt?
Well, close, but I couldn't, George was the guy.